Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Hare Krishna, with the microphone turned on.
Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Sodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Radha Madhava. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana Dari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivana. Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Sodanandana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivadakacharya Astatir Sata Shishimad. His Divine Grace to the A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Anantakota Vaishnavani Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shivandavanam Ki Jai, Sri Maya Purnavidam Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gaup Hemanandi. All glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories to some devotees, all glories, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 5, text number 31. And there's a few verses here I'm just going to read through, and I'll just read the English.
What about the Sanskrit here for the first one?
You want to do the first one? Go for it, Davida.
All right, 31, right?
Yep.
Atisukumara kadachadanoraha stala vipula bhav angsa galabadana dyavya avayava vinyasaha prakati sundara swabhava hasa sumuko navanalanandalaya shishida taranunayata nayana ruchidaha Sadrisha Subhaga Kapola Karna Kantanaso Viguda Smita Vadana Mahotsavena Puravanitana Manasi Kusuma Sharasanam Upadadhana Paragavalambamana Kutala Jatala Kapashakesha Bhuri Bharo Vaduta Malina Nija Sharirena Grahagahita Ivadrishyata.
Translation. Lord Rishabhdeva's hands, feet, and symmetrically proportioned. His mouth was beautifully decorated with his natural smile, the more lovely with his reddish eyes spread wide like the petals of a newly grown lotus flower covered with dew in the early morning. The irises of his eyes were so pleasing that they removed all the troubles of everything. His forehead, ears, neck, and other features were very beautiful. His gentle smile always made his face beautiful, so much so that he even attracted the hearts of married women. It was as though they had been pierced by arrows of Cupid. About his head was an abundance of curly, matted brown hair. His hair was disheveled because his body was dirty and not taken care of. He appeared as if he were haunted by a ghost. Purport. Although Lord Rishabhdeva's body was very much neglected, his transcendental features were so attractive that even married women were attracted to him. His beauty and dirtiness combined to make his beautiful body appear as though it were haunted by a ghost. So we're going to continue on. Lord Rishabhdeva's pastimes. Huh? Yeah. Lord Rishabhdeva's pastimes are very, what we hear, his teachings, is amazing, just wonderful, but his pastimes are a little difficult to understand. So we're going to read right through here. When Lord Rishabhdeva saw that the general populace was very antagonistic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their opposition. Thus he stayed in one place and lay down. While lying down, he ate and drank, and he passed stool and urine and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared his whole body with his own stool and urine so that opposing elements might not come and disturb him. Purport. According to one's destiny, one enjoys allotted happiness and distress even though one keeps himself in one place. This is the injunction of the Shastra. When one is spiritually situated, he may stay in one place, and all his necessities will be supplied by the arrangement of the Supreme Controller. Unless one is a preacher, there is no need to travel all over the world. A person can stay in one place and execute devotional service suitably according to time and circumstance. When Rishabhdeva saw that he was simply being disturbed by traveling throughout the world, he decided to lie down in one place like a python. Thus he ate, drank, and he passed stool and urine and smeared his body with them so that people would not disturb him. Next verse. Because Lord Rishabhdeva remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him, but no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. 80 miles, Prabhu. That's a pretty powerful fragrance there. Purport. From this we can certainly assume that Lord Rishabhdev was transcendentally blissful. His stool and urine were so completely different from material stool and urine that they were aromatic. Even in the material world, cow dung is accepted as purified and antiseptic. A person can keep stacks of cow dung in one place and it will not create a bad odor to disturb anyone. We can take it for granted that in the spiritual world, stool and urine are also pleasantly scented. Indeed, the entire atmosphere became very pleasant due to Lord Rishabhdev's stool and urine. Inconceivable. Okay, here we go. In this way, next verse, in this way Lord Rishabhdev followed the behavior of cows, deer, and crows. Sometimes he moved or walked, and sometimes he sat down in one place. Sometimes he lay down, behaving exactly like cows, deer, and crows. In that way he ate, drank, passed stool and urine, and cheated the people in this way. Purport. Being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Rishabhdev possessed a transcendental spiritual body. Since the general public could not appreciate his behavior and mystic yoga practice, they began to disturb him, to cheat them. He behaved like crows, cows, and deer. And this is the last verse of the chapter. O King Parikshit, just to show all the yogis the mystic process, Lord Rishabhdev, the partial expansion of Lord Krishna, performed wonderful activities. Actually, he was the master of liberation and was fully absorbed in transcendental bliss, which increased 1,000-fold. Lord Krishna Vasudev, the son of Vasudeva, is the original source of Lord Rishabhdev. There is no difference in their constitution, and consequently Lord Rishabhdev awakened the loving symptoms of crying, laughing, and shivering. He was always absorbed in transcendental love. Due to this, all mystic powers automatically approached him, such as the ability to travel in outer space at the speed of mind, to appear and disappear, to enter the bodies of others, and to see things far, far away. Although he could do all this, he did not exercise these powers.
Vijay, before you go on, there's been a revision in this translation. At the beginning, O King Parikshit, just to show all the yogis the mystic process, Lord Rishabhdev, the plenary expansion.
Oh, not partial, plenary expansion. Okay. Purport. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 19:149, it is said, Krishna Bhakti Nishkama At Eva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakali Ashanta. The word Shanta means completely peaceful. Unless all one's desires are fulfilled, one cannot be peaceful. Everyone is trying to fulfill his aspirations and desires, be they material or spiritual. Those in the material world are ashanta, without peace, because they have so many desires to fulfill. The pure devotee, however, is without desire, anya vilasita sunya. A pure devotee is completely free from all kinds of material desire. Karmis, on the other hand, are simply full of desires because they try to enjoy sense gratification. They are not peaceful in this life nor the next, during the past, present, or future. Similarly, jnanis are always aspiring after liberation and trying to become one with the Supreme. Yogis are aspiring after many siddhis, powers, anima, logima, prapti, etc. However, a devotee is not at all interested in these things because he is fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. Krishna is Yogeśvara, the possessor of all mystic powers, siddhis, and he is Atmaram, fully satisfied, self-satisfied. The yoga siddhis are described in this verse. One can fly in outer space without the aid of a machine, and he can travel at the speed of mind. I was wondering about this. Krishna has done so many amazing things, but we never hear about Krishna flying. Isn't it? The mystics, they go planet to planet. But Krishna's standing on the back of Garuda. He's not like Krishna's flying. Kind of interesting. Throw that in there. This means that as soon as a yogi desires to go somewhere within this universe, or even beyond this universe, he can do so immediately. One cannot estimate the speed of mind, for within a second the mind can go many millions of miles. Sometimes yogis enter into the bodies of other people and act as they desire within their bodies. Sometimes yogis enter into the bodies of other people and act as they desire when their bodies are not working properly. When the body becomes old, a perfect yogi can find a young, able body, giving up his old body. The yogi can enter into the young body and act as he pleases. Being a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva, Lord Rishabhadeva, not a plenary, but a... Oh, that's right. Oh, they made it right that time. Okay. Being a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva, Lord Rishabhadeva possessed all these mystic yogic powers, but he was satisfied with his devotional love of Krishna, which is evinced in the ecstatic symptoms such as crying, laughing, and shivering. Om Jnanatamurandasya Girandhana Salaka Chakshram Malitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukram Kotavatalang Pangunlang Hayate Gurim Yakripa Taraham Bande Shigurum Dinataranam Vanchakapa Tuvyasta Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanevya Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. So people throughout the world want peace. Naturally, people want to live a peaceful life. But Krishna explains in the Bhagavad-gita the peace formula. Bhoktaram yagatapasang sarvalokam mahishram sudam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantim rachati. That whoever knows Krishna to be the enjoyer of all sacrifices, the friend of all living entities, Bhoktaram yagatapasang sarvalokam mahishram, the controller, then he attains peace from the pangs of material existence. Now we're all controllers to some degree, just like in this temple. Now we have a new temple commander. Hey, where's our temple commander? Oh, there he is. Now he's, just as we heard today, he's under Balaram. Now he's a controller. Balaram's a superior controller. And above Balaram is GBC. There's no temple president. But there's someone above the GBC. Who's above the GBC? The EC, the executive committee. There's I think there's 3 executive committee. And so they're calling the shots now, even for the GBC. But above the EC is Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada's, his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And then it goes all the way back to Krishna. He's the supreme controller. Everybody's doing some control, but Krishna is Parameshvara. He's the supreme controller. And when we serve him, then we're peaceful. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nachayuktasya bhava nachabhava tashanta asantasya kutasakam. That if one is not connected to Krishna, one cannot have transcendental intelligence, nor a steady mind, without which one cannot have peace. And without peace, how can there be happiness? Right? So that's the key. We have to be connected to Krishna somehow. We have to be connected to Krishna. And that's it. And that's actually the meaning of the word yoga. It's like they have that saying, yoke your wagons, put your wagons together. That comes from the word yoga. So we're trying to connect to Krishna. And Prabhupada said that the Bhakti Yoga system is to learn to forget all the nonsense that has accumulated within us for many lifetimes. Not just, but many lifetimes. To forget all the nonsense and to replace that with Krishna. to fill ourselves with Krishna. That's the bhakti yoga process. It's like here at the temple now, we're doing a lot of minimizing. We're doing a lot of organization and getting rid of things that we don't need. There's a lot of things, minimizing. This practice of bhakti yoga is minimizing, getting all the junk from our mind that we don't need, minimizing the nonsense thoughts, nonsense desires, kicking them out, and filling ourselves with Krishna. Yeah, so that's the bhakti yoga process. And Krishna, it's mentioned here that he is the master of mystics. And Krishna, he's such a great mystic that he can even purify us. That's mystical. That's mystical. That's amazing. That's magic. Yeah. It's stated in the Bhagavad-gita, Yatra Yogeśvara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurjan, Tat Shri Vijaya Dasa Mama. That Krishna, he's known as the master of mystics. And Arjuna, he's the supreme archer. And wherever there's Krishna, there's extraordinary opulence. Like Krishna, he was so opulent, just like when he was here, he was so opulent. But in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, Chintamani Prakarasad Masukalpa Riksha Laksavartesu Surabira Vipalyantam Lakshmi Sahasa Satabang Satasambram Savyamano Govindam Adi Purusam Tamaham Vajami. That just like here we have dirt. In Goloka Vrindavan, there's Chintamani gems, priceless Chintamani gems. It's inconceivably priceless. And whatever you want, there's Kalpavriksha trees. Whatever you want, you can have from this Kalpavriksha tree. And there's Surabhi cows. Whatever you want, you can get from the Surabhi cow. But it's interesting that everybody in the spiritual world, what do they all want? They just want to serve Krishna. So here, people have so many desires, want so many things. They just go hog wild. If you give them a Kalpavriksha tree, that's like, oh yeah, all right, things. Let me get that. Let me get that. Let me get that. But devotee just wants to serve Krishna. Yeah. So this is the opulence of a devotee. That they're just like Krishna, he's Atmaram. He's self-satisfied. Devotee is also, he's Atmaram. We don't want anything. We live simple lives. Simple living, high thinking. Atmaram, devotee also. So, Tatrashi Vijayo, Krishna is always victorious. He's always victorious. So many demons Krishna killed. And it looked like the odds were against Krishna. And sometimes even the devotees got a little worried. In the coils of Kaliya. For how long was Krishna in the coils of Kaliya? 2 hours. Yeah. And so many big demons tried to kill Krishna. But no problem. Krishna, no problem. No anxiety. Krishna is the personification of Vaikuntha, no anxiety. So Vijayo, Tatrashi Vijayo Bhutir, extraordinary strength. It's very strong. I don't know how heavy the Govardhan Hill was back then, but it was big. Every year it decreases, right? Like a mustard seed or something. Yeah, it decreases. Back then it was big. Krishna just lifted it. Yeah. Tons. Pinky, very powerful. Such a sankalpa that he's so powerful that whatever he wants, it just happens. That's God. That's powerful. Tatrashi Vijayo Bhutir Juva Nitir. And he's moral. He's personification of morality. Now this is the Saradiya, the pastime of Krishna's. See, this is a full moon tonight. So Krishna had the rasa dance on the full moon night. So what did Krishna do? He played the flute. And it's described that the playing of Krishna's flute was also a messenger. The flute's a messenger calling the gopis, come, let's dance. Now some people say, oh, that's immoral. God is dancing with these unmarried girls and married girls. Yeah. What kind of moral character is that? What kind of a God is that? But it's not that he that he wanted to enjoy with the gopis. They wanted to enjoy it with Krishna. He's Atmaram. He's self-satisfied. He doesn't need the gopis. He doesn't need the gopas. Doesn't need his parents. He's Atmaram. He's completely self-satisfied. But the gopis, they wanted to please Krishna. And because they're such great devotees, they wanted to please Krishna so much that he wanted to please them. So therefore he called them, let's dance. But what's really interesting is when the gopis actually did come. How many of them? Thousands of them. When they did come, Krishna said, what are you all doing here? It's late at night, dangerous animals out. Go home. Go home, see, detached. But they wouldn't leave. They were so attached to Krishna that they wouldn't leave. They stayed. And then he said, okay, let's dance. The rasa dance. And he's known as Vrindavana Natabara. Probably some pretty good dancers there amongst the gopis. But Krishna is the best dancer. So today is the anniversary of that momentous evening where Krishna he danced with the beautiful gopis. Yeah, some people, they can't understand God. They think that actually in India, one of the big ways that some religious groups preach against Hinduism is, what kind of a God is this? He's dancing with girls and late at night, married women. They can't understand. Like I met one, I met one guy a couple days ago. He said, if I met God, I wouldn't like him. I was shocked, First time I ever heard that. And then he said, because there's so much suffering. And then he left, so I couldn't explain to him that, we're causing that suffering, not God. He's given us free will. We can choose to do the right thing or the wrong thing. If we didn't have that free will, then you want to be a robot? Nobody wants to be a robot. Yeah. We want to have our independence. So when people misuse that independence, then we do stupid things. And when people do stupid things, they end up in jail sometimes, and they suffer because they're misusing their independence. So without that independence, how can there be any love? Just like a father has a son. Well, let's say he has many sons, and many of the sons are showing, submissive attitude toward the father, and they're good sons. But one son is he's just completely rebellious and just won't do anything, and just disturbance to the father. No affection, not submissive. And finally the father puts a gun to his head and says, listen, kid, you listen to me and you love me, I'm going to blow your head off. Could that be called love? No. Huh? Tough love. Tough love. No, that can't be love. When the son submissively wants to do things for his father and shows affection for his father out of his own free will, then the father expresses his love to his son. There's got to be reciprocation. Yeah. So when we misuse that free will and we want to do whatever we want to do, we're not submissive, and we don't want to please Krishna. We just want to do whatever we want to do. Then we cause our own suffering. So he never heard that probably. And there's other religions, they say, oh, someone's sinful, they go to hell and they burn forever. What kind of what type of a person would that be? Just enjoying others' suffering, just burn, sucker, forever. You blew it. No, what kind? It's ridiculous. So no, God is not like that. God is forgiving. It's like a devotee is forgiving. The first quality of a devotee is forgiving. Kshanti vyartha kaladvam. So Krishna is forgiving. And how many times does he forgive? He forgives unlimitedly. He'll keep on forgiving and giving us a chance. Therefore, there's reincarnation. Without reincarnation, the whole creation doesn't work. Krishna gives that. He keeps on giving us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. Hopefully we get it together. That's this opportunity, the human form of life. This is the loophole to get out of the whole cycle, samsara, repetition of birth and death. This is our chance to serve Krishna with love. And today is the disappearance day of Murari Gupta, who was a great lover of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So dear to Lord Chaitanya, and so dear to Lord Ramachandra. Actually, he's an incarnation of Hanuman. And Lord Chaitanya, he was trying to convince Murari Gupta to worship Krishna, because Krishna, he's the supreme, the supreme Lord. So many wonderful pastimes of Krishna. But Murari Gupta, he couldn't do it. He tried, but he stayed up all night crying because he couldn't give up his worship of Lord Ram. And then Lord Chaitanya heard that and he said, that's because you're an incarnation of Hanuman. And at Murari Gupta's home, Lord Chaitanya, he manifested the Varaha form of the Lord. And also Lord Ramachandra. He manifested the form of Lord Ramachandra to Murari Gupta. He was such a great lover of God. He did service for the Nawab, Hussain Shah. And they would go out on hunting excursions. And one time they were out hunting, they were on an elephant. Prabhupada explains they were on an elephant. And Murari Gupta, he saw a peacock there in the forest. And he went into ecstasy, fell off the elephant. And the king stopped the elephant and he got down and said, well, what happened? What happened? Why'd you fall off? He said, oh, I have this epilepsy sometimes. I get, and he could understand, the king could understand, actually, he's actually feeling some love for God. Intelligent king, yeah. So, yeah, this is Murari Gupta. Very, very great devotee of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. There's one instance where he went to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and he offered respects first to Lord Chaitanya and then to Lord Nityananda. And Lord Chaitanya said, you've done improper etiquette here. This is not right, because Lord Nityananda, he's senior to me. Yeah. So the next day he went and he paid obeisances to Lord Nityananda first, and then to Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Nityananda, he took birth first. It's like Balaram, he's considered senior, the older brother of Krishna. He took birth first. So, very fortunate soul, Murari Gupta. So, today is also the beginning of Kartik, first day of Kartik. And many devotees, they take vows on Kartik. Just like today you saw this Darpana. He was here this morning. He's going to be here. DARPA or Darpana? Huh? Darpan. He'll be here every day for Kartik. That's his vow. And some devotees, they distribute more hours on book distribution. Some devotees, they chant more japa for this month. Devotees take different vows on this month of Kartik. Why? Because you get extra credit. You get extra credit. Just like sometimes companies, they put things on sale. Things that may cost, $500, it's on a sale. Now it only costs $400. So whatever you do in this month, you get, 1,000 times more? 1,000 times more. Especially if you're in Vrindavan, you get special credit. So therefore, devotees, to get more mercy of Krishna, they take vows and they do extra service for Krishna. But if you commit offense, then also you get more reaction. So you have to be very careful. And this is also the month of Damodar. Every day for a month we're going to sing this beautiful song in glorification of Lord Krishna in this Damodar leela. Amazing Damodar leela. And what happened was Krishna, he was there with Mother Yasoda, and she was heating some milk to make some preparation for Krishna. And Krishna's there. I guess he's got a crib there, some type of crib or something. Huh? He's running around or something. Okay. So he was hungry, and he expressed to his mother that he's hungry. He wanted some breast milk. So she said, okay. So she sat down and she's feeding Krishna. And then she saw that the milk is boiling over. Now, in the spiritual world, everything is conscious. Right? Everything is personal. So the milk was thinking, if Mother Yasoda keeps on feeding Krishna that milk, he's not going to want any of me. So I got to do something here. Yeah? So he decided to boil over so that Mother Yasoda would stop feeding Krishna. And she did. She said, oh, the milk's boiling over. So she put Krishna down and she went and she tended the milk. And then Krishna, he got upset. I'm still hungry. Mother Yasoda, she stopped feeding me. So he decided to do something naughty. Krishna can be naughty. Naughty Krishna. So he went and he broke a pot of yogurt. And then he thought, he ate some, but then he thought, oh, Mother Yasoda she's gonna be upset. So he went and he hid, but he had his little footprints with some yogurt. So she came back and she followed those footprints and found Krishna. You naughty boy. She said, now I'm going to punish you. And she came with a stick, and he feigned fear. He expressed fear. It's described that death personified is afraid of Krishna. But now Krishna, he's fearing Mother Yasoda with a stick. But then she thought, oh, I don't want Krishna to be too afraid of me. So she threw the stick away. But she said, but I'm still going to punish you. I'm going to tie you up. So she got this mortar. And she had Krishna there, and she got some rope, and she's tying Krishna up. But, as we heard not too long ago from Bhadi Narayan Swami, that 2 fingers too short. So she got more rope. Still, 2 fingers too short. She got more rope. Still, 2 fingers too short. And she practically got all the rope in Vrindavan. Still, 2 fingers too short. This is called Yatra Yogeśvara Krishna, the mystic abilities of Krishna. And the gopis, they were watching this, and they were all kind of like, it was becoming amusing. Don't you see? So you can't tie up Krishna. No, I'm going to tie him up. If I have to get all the rope in this village and other village, I'm going to tie him up. So then, Krishna saw her determination. So those two fingers represent determination and mercy. Mercy. So she was determined to tie up Krishna. It was a service because he had done something wrong. So she thought it was her duty to punish Krishna due to his mischievous activities. So he appreciated her determination. And therefore, in our service, whatever service we're doing, we should have great determination to do our service nicely and to try to do as much service as we can. Sometimes because we don't have to do, this is a voluntary society. We don't have to do so many things. Right? It's like if you get a job, you have to work 8 hours. And if you're late, you get punished. And if you're late, a certain amount of time, they'll fire you. Yeah. But in our society, we're very lenient. Prabhupada is very merciful. So you don't have to work 8 hours, although it's nice if we do. I mean, the karmis are working 8 hours a day, pretty much. Some more, some 10 hours, 12 hours. I had one friend, he was working in Singapore, and he was working like 14 hours a day. And he was making good money, but he was a devotee. He wanted to spend more time, in his devotional activities. So he went to the boss and said, do you think it's possible that I could work less hours? And he replied to him, there's 300 people waiting in line to have your job. Now you think about that. In other words, if you don't do 14 hours a day, someone else is going to take your job. So he had to stick with it. But then eventually he just quit and joined the ashram there in Chaupati, disciple of Radhanath Swami. So, karmas, they work so hard for their sense gratification. We should also work hard for Krishna. Yeah. Why do the minimal? Try to do a maximum. Try to do as much as we can for Krishna. And the more we act like that in the service of Krishna, the more Krishna he reciprocates. He wants to give more and give more, right? So Yasoda was showing so much determination. So Krishna was merciful. All right. So he was tied up to this mortar. And then she went off doing her household duties, and so Krishna's there, a prisoner, tied up. So then he decides to do a little more mischief. His friends come around, hey Krishna, why are you all tied up in this mortar? Oh, I did a little mischievous activities, and Mother Yasoda Mata, she's tied me up here. Anyway, let's go have some fun. So he drags this mortar. He's tied up to this mortar. He's dragging it, and he goes in between these twin Arjuna trees. What were they called? What was their name before? Manigriva and Nalakuvara. They were doing some mischievous activities themselves in the heavenly planets, swimming in a lake naked with naked girls. And Narada Muni comes by, and the girls covered up, but I think they were a little intoxicated. They didn't cover up, so Narada cursed them. Do you like to be naked? All right, trees. And they were like, oh no, we made a big mistake there. But it's okay, you're going to be delivered by Krishna. So I was thinking that's the devotee is even more merciful, isn't it? That's pretty merciful. And then they got liberated also, right? They were just, they're doing nonsense, Narada Muni comes by, and the end result is they get liberated. You know, that's pretty cool. Devotees are so merciful. Yeah. So these trees, they were huge trees, humongous trees, and they went crashing to the ground. Krishna just pulled that mortar in between. They went crashing to the ground. And the Nectar Devotion is described that when Mother Yasoda heard that crash, she thought, it's described that she raised her hands and said, "Oh my God, now what?" Because there's always something happening, you know, with Krishna. Now what? So then, sure enough, they all went there, and these trees fallen down, and the demigods came out, and they're offering prayers to Krishna. And the cowherd boys are like, "What's going on? What's?" They're completely shocked. You can imagine. You know? So then Nanda Maharaj comes and sees Krishna tied up there, and he says, "Ask Krishna, who did this to you?" "Mother Yasoda. Mother Yasoda did this to me." "Why did she do that?" And he got upset with Mother Yasoda, and Krishna is still upset with Mother Yasoda too. So then they asked the boys, "What happened? What's this?" And they explained, "Well, Krishna, he was tied to this mortar, but he pulled it in between the trees, and the trees, they just crashed to the ground. And then these two demigods came out, and they're offering prayers to Krishna." And some of the cowherd men, "I can't believe these kids, you know, come on. Demigods coming out of trees and offering prayers to Krishna. Come on, you can't believe these kids." You know? And then some of them said, "Well, I don't know about Krishna. He's doing all these amazing things. You know, it could be true." You know, so that's the wonderful Damodara leela that devotees relish so much. So on that, is there any question or comment? Correction? Okay, an addition by Dravida Prabhu.
One of the reasons at the beginning of the Leela, when Mother Yashoda was boiling the milk and churning the butter, it says, I think in the commentaries that Prabhupada used, and I think it's in the published book, that she was thinking that Krishna is going to all these other houses to steal milk. He's not satisfied with his milk. So she had this special gourmet milk, that special grasses the cows were eating. So that was the milk that she was thinking, okay, maybe he'll like this milk. You know.
Special grass, you know, for special milk for Krishna. I don't know how do you get special grass?
Also, the thing is, Krishna initiated the whole thing by grabbing hold of the churning rod.
Right.
And Prabhupada says in the word by words, there's a lot in the word by words, that the Sanskrit is he's creating a situation of love. In other words, he engineered the whole pastime like that.
So she was churning the butter, but she was also boiling. So she was doing a couple services there at the same time. And then Krishna, he grabbed the mortar rod there, churning rod. Yes, Balaram.
It's a little kind of backtracking to Rishabhadev, but I thought it was interesting in the last purport you read how I think that's what Prabhupada said in the purport, that something that Rishabhadev was experiencing love for Krishna, right?
Yeah.
He's shivering and all this. It's quite interesting because, of course, then in the verses that you read, it's Prabhupada said he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But a lot of the times you don't see that in the different forms that Krishna takes, the different, Parashuram or these different personalities, right? That they're experiencing love for Krishna. Yeah. But here he is. Because I can't think of, is there anybody else?
Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah,
but he came as a devotee.
Of course, there's Lord Chaitanya.
He came as a devotee.
Yeah.
Expressing. So this is how a devotee should be. So yeah, this is a good point. This is the first example that I know of an incarnation of Krishna who's experiencing love for Krishna.
Yeah.
Love for himself.
Anyways.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you. Something else? Yeah? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.